All right, quick recap. We have a cell wall. It's made of two phospholipids. It's got protein channels running through it, and they let certain chemicals through. And it's got receptor sites on the outside for those chemicals that can't get in but still need to make changes inside the cell. Otherwise, it's a wall, and its job is to keep the cytoplasm inside and the extracellular fluid or interstitial fluid out. All right, next big job for this section is to learn what's inside the cell, the organelles. So as you can see in this image, there's a lot of parts. I found the best way to get your head around this is to think of the cell like a factory, and its whole purpose is making protein. That's not 100% true. Cells have lots of things, other purposes that they're supposed to do, but it helps you understand the anatomy, so let's just roll with that. So in our factory, we have the head office. This is the place where all the decisions are made about what kind of proteins are going to make and when. That's the nucleus. It's the center of the cell. It's surrounded by its own nuclear envelope, kind of like the plasma membrane for the nucleus. It has small holes called nuclear pores, which let molecules in and RNA and parts of proteins out. Think of it like the head office, receiving and sending out emails and taking in information to send out orders. So the nucleus sends out pieces of RNA, and they attach to what are called ribosomes. Think of the ribosomes as the factory, or the actual workers. These are the guys that are actually going to make the proteins that the body wants. They hang out typically outside the nuclear envelope, and they just keep producing. But where do these proteins go? So after leaving the ribosomes, they'll start to float through the endoplasmic reticulum. It's these series of folding channels that help further develop the proteins by folding them into the shapes that they're supposed to be in, or by using enzymes to change the proteins into something else. There's two types of endoplasmic reticulum, smooth and rough. Rough ER works with proteins, while smooth helps create lipids and carbohydrates. All right, so we've made our new protein. It's all packaged and folded, ready to go. But now we need to get it out of the cell. Enter the Golgi apparatus. So this is essentially Amazon or Purolator or FedEx, whatever other shipping services you guys use. It'll take our newly created protein and then wrap it up in these little sacs called vesicles. And the vesicles are special because they can travel right through the cell wall and be released into the outside world or the outside cell. Inside the vesicles, the protein might also be changed or manipulated a little bit as well. Outside of that, we have a few other ancillary parts of the cell. These are parts that don't necessarily help make new proteins, but they're like support staff. Nothing really happens without them. So first up is the mitochondria. This is the powerhouse of the cell. It produces the energy that the rest of the cell needs to run. Next is lysosomes. They're like the custodians. So they're made from vesicles that don't leave the cell membrane and instead float around and clean up any waste product or damaged organelles. Finally, inside the cell, we have centrioles. And these are these small tubes that help keep everything organized by moving the structures around in the cell. And they're going to play a huge role in cellular division. So that's all inside the cell. The last thing we need to cover is the appendages, or cellular appendages. And these are things that are on the outside of the cell. These help the cell perform more specific functions like movement or absorption. We've got your microvilli, and these are these small finger-like projections that stick off the plasma membrane. They help increase the surface area, which helps improve absorption rates. You'll find these on small intestine. Cilia are these really fine hair-like projections that sway back and forth. They act like fins to help them swim around, but they can also be used to move objects. So, for example, in your trachea, it's lined with cilia. So when you get sick and you've got mucus there and you got a cough to spit it up, that's your cilia lifting the mucus or phlegm out of your throat. Last one is the flagella. This is a specific one, and it's found in sperm cells. It allows them to swim at relatively great speeds, which is crucial for the sperm cell to reach the female egg and start that reproductive process.